All right, y'all. Well, that's some Mercury Retrograde shit. I just recorded a 35-minute channeled messages video where I was live channeling from the different gods and goddesses. So instead of but the my microphone wasn't working out. There was some problem with the microphone. I fixed it immediately, but I had unplugged it, plugged it back in, and the software wasn't recognizing it off the jump. So I went the whole video with no sound. I just uploaded it and then I deleted it once I realized that. But that's all right. What I'm going to do now is synthesize everything they said that I can remember. Because I was in more of a mediumistic or channeling state. So I won't be able to remember all the details. But instead of it being 35 minutes, this could be better. This is probably a blessing in disguise. So I'm going to give you the messages of each. There were 4 groups. And I can actually just channel them again too if the spirits would be so kind. But let me think. Okay, so first Selene or the moon came in, and she was talking about how there's certain manifestations that are extremely potent that are being sent from the humans since the new moon to the moon, and that certain ones of them have the backing force. Certain manifestations were manifested by like thought forms and stuff that people sent up to the astral realms, which is the spirit realm, the 4th dimension. Certain ones of those, one in particular, so many different people manifested that same desire, that same thought form, that it's going to be huge in its outcome. Oh, this is even clearer now. And she's saying that, because I just asked her if that was good or bad. In human effect, not that anything's good or bad in the final eternal sense, but she's saying that it's like a lot of negative manifestations because people were going through the main one, maybe negative, because people were going through dark nights of the soul and other things with this Mercury retrograde. A lot of different troubles, homesickness as well from the family. That's the one thing she highlighted. So I think that was probably yeah, that's it. It's people manifested like more loneliness and separation because that's what they were feeling during the new moon and since then, because everybody's been kept away from their families with the current world situation, and people are nostalgic naturally about the holiday seasons, about getting back with their families and doing the rituals they've done for their whole lives, seeing the people that they are close to. So, but mostly just like fish, like salmon going up the stream, mostly whether the people loved their families or not. And that may sound harsh, but like truly love them. Then they just like to return to the same nesting spot they always return to. People are creatures of habits, so the fact that people don't have, like I felt this too, the fact that the ritual that I always do every year of meeting with my family and certain other families for Thanksgiving and for Christmas are up in the air or canceled or changed to something subpar in comparison. So that feels really bad, and one is prone to falling into a spiral after that. And so that's basically what Selene was talking about, is that a lot of people manifested more of their negative emotions because that's what was most strongly being beamed up towards the moon. And okay, but on the good side, what happens is a lot of other people have been manifesting good things. This is all just the normal humans that I'm talking about now. And so other normal humans have been manifesting good stuff and have been able to conquer their dark nights of the soul, to overcome them and to learn things about themselves. And those people need to, if the family, because it's going to be a breaking point essentially, where people are going to, during the holiday seasons, both Thanksgiving at the end of November and Christmas time as December gets later and later, people are going to have big decisions to make. Are they going to continue to be shut down and controlled, or are they going to do the things they always wanted to do? And like the salmon returning to its first birthplace, its natural stream birthplace, and traveling upstream against the current, that's what people are going to be willing to do for the first time in this whole coronavirus. They're going to be willing to go meet their family members, probably without masks, and just fucking go for it. You know what I mean? And so, but there's going to be a lot of pushback from other members of society and from some family members revolting and saying, no way, I'm meeting you guys. And then people are going to see where everybody stands. There's going to be like a whole. So that's what she was saying, that these manifestations aren't going to be like ripples. It's going to be waves are created. And so the people that have been manifesting good things and have been overcoming their dark facets and their game, their shame, guilt, and those things that have been overcoming that and being more and more secure in themselves and figuring out more and more what their purpose is in this world and why they're here in such chaotic times, that those people need to be the fluid and the fire putter outers in some cases where the fire is useless to be raging, but in other times you should just sit back and let the arguments and negative situations happen because they're out of your control and because you can have some fun watching the fireworks. If the things need to burn off, sometimes the forest needs to burn down in order for new stuff to come through. Okay, so that was the message from Selene. So some of you guys need to be the lubrication and the mediators of your families during these times, holiday seasons, and other of you guys, she said it's still encouraged to do the ritual if you were planning to get back with your family and do the normal stuff to the degree that everybody's comfortable with. And that it's actually all an illusion that people would actually all get sick and die. But she's saying that depending on your specific situation, you should play it how it needs to be played. And that's where the other people came in. So then Selene closed out. Then we got a message from a royal feline starseed, basically, a royal feline spirit. And he said that that there's two main types of the people who are here on Earth now, especially those that are somewhat young, like under the age of 40, especially under the age of 30, that those people are usually in two classes. First we have everybody in the world under 30, right? Or 35 or 40. But the younger the better. Then we have, because different generations came in and they were more and more evolved as the years went on, from like 1980 onwards. 80 was the indigo children, 90 was the 90s were the crystal children, and then around the 2000s or late 90s were the rainbow children, and then we have even further childrens that will emanate past that. So basically, the people that are alive and that have awakened, that are like the people watching this video and your other friends who you can tell are starting to see through a lot of the control and the bullshit of this sick world. Those people are here for a purpose, and they, in their souls, know exactly what they are here to do. That's what he was saying. And he said that of those people, of the people that have awakened and that are decently young, they have, they come in two main classes, two main types. One subtype, one group, is the destroyers. The other subtype is the innovators. Because in order to, and this is the other thing Selene was saying at the beginning, was that this world is going through a birthing process right now. That's why it's painful, it's bloody, there's screaming, there's all this. But there's also soon to come the aspect of the beauty of the human life being birthed, or the new age, the new world being birthed, right? So it's painful on its onset, but it also has elements of ecstasia, euphoria at certain moments when people link up with their tribe, with their true spirit family, these other young awakened souls that know why they're here, and they start to figure out that mission. That becomes exciting, and you get states of euphoria inside of the chaos and the suffering when people realize that they're destroyers, and that's why they've been burdened with so much control against them and so much it's basically the difference between the destroyer and the innovator. Both of them see the sickness of the world and recognize on a soul level that they've been here in other incarnations and have seen much more beautiful times, or have managed to accomplish extremely difficult and beautiful innovations and feats in past lives, whether it be in this realm or others, but likely this realm. And so that's what they have in common. But what they have separately is that the destroyers have, this is what the cat guide said, is that the destroyers have had many cycles of innovation and of trying to birth a new world that were... No. One sec, let me set this back up. I got a warning on the camera here. Okay. The Destroyers had a bunch of shit that was thwarted in the past. They had innovations and stuff that society purposefully...
Don't be afraid.
What the
This Halloween will be just like last.
This is crazy.
We'll buy tons of Reese's.
I'm getting a fucking ad. Okay. I hope that continues in one recording. They're trying to stop me on this one. Okay, so the Destroyers have been thwarted by society continually, right? Like, imagine, for example, if you were... let's just take, I don't know, somebody that had a homeopathic... Just take a small fry. Someone who knew the secrets of homeopathic medicine, but was killed by the big pharma because... If your remedy got out to the world, Big Pharma would have made less money because people wouldn't have bought their toxic drugs. They would have used the homeopathic remedy because you were actually scaling it up and you were actually about to release it into the world and it was catching steam and certain figures in the world were backing you up, right? They needed to take you out. So you were thwarted. So you were an innovator, but now you're a destroyer because, say that happened in 20 lives. You've always been trying to innovate new shit because that's what your soul does. Now you're ready to vent your spite upon the world, okay? Just to put it simply, right? And then what he wanted me to impress upon you was that, well, that was actually Aphrodite, but what else? Feline guide. Oh yes, okay. This is the crucial part. So that's what the Destroyers need to know. There's a reason why you were hymned, why you noticed, why you were. That's the exact words he used. Why you were society's bad conscience growing up. And why you reflected everything back against the people that thwarted you, right? Like people said, people made you an outcast, and you felt like shit, but you felt an invigoration and a burning within you to prove that you weren't, that the outcastedness was because they were sick and because you were the antidote. But they outcasted the antidote because they were scared of curing themselves or because they didn't want to be healed, right? And so you've been through these rejections and punishments and control by others and odd family structures and all this to keep building up that vengeance within you that you came here with. Okay? And he also wanted me to basically, if you don't understand this kind of shit or you're like, oh, love and light and stuff, you find another video. You know what I'm saying? Because destruction, chaos breeds order. Okay, you need to destroy faulty structures that can last for centuries and eons, doing their false corruption. You need to destroy those in order to usher in the new world. So certain people are here with a vengeance, okay? And we'll get into how they can operate better with Aphrodite. But the main thing that needed to be said was that the technology, the innovation, so that's the destroyer category. The innovator category of souls that are here that are younger than 40 they need to focus on earth tools, earth magic. They need to focus on the magic of Mother Nature, basically the quadrivium and the trivium, the 7 things, okay? If you get those books or you just look up the bullet points, it shows you the trinity of knowledge, understanding, and wisdom is the trivium. Then the quadrivium are the 4 sciences that every man should know, which are every man and woman, which are something, geometry, music, and astronomy, which we should really be astrology, okay? So the innovators are going to be in the field of Mother Nature's, the 5 elements, ether, fire, air, earth, water. They need to be innovating in that sense. And so really the innovators are just the reclaimers of ancient technology, because our ancestors who built the pyramids and who had free energy devices before the mud floods, if you haven't heard about Tartaria, I can't catch up on all that right now. But we had free energy before. You can find pictures of cities in Russia and all over the place where they had a whole lit city in a snowy night with light poles with no cords running between the light poles, right? And you can find in every nation worldwide, there's like over, especially the European nations, there's like over 100 star forts in each one. And the star forts are in the shape, different geometrical shapes, usually five-sided like pentagrams, but all kinds of shapes. And they were like the harvesting facilities, the free energy facilities, the clothes making facilities. They weren't defensible forts because they could easily be surrounded. They were small in size. So an enemy army would just surround them and burn them out. It wouldn't, or just send a bunch of plagues and cannonballs and shit in. It would be very easy to conquer them. So they weren't forts for fortification, for defending actual people who lived inside like a castle would be. They were energy hubs, free energy hubs, and the generators of the societies. Okay, they made all the different things possible. The processing of grains, every different thing like that. Right? They could do it on a large, fast, free, sustainable technique there with hydroelectric, with Tesla coils, with all the elemental energies, fire energy, the energy underneath the earth, etc. Okay, so the innovators need to tap into that, the energy of the wandering stars, which are the planets and the luminaries, the fixed stars, which is the firmament, with the fixed stars, which are like nodes in the brain of God, so to speak, in the firmament, in the bubble, and the, which modern science calls the Van Allen radiation belt. So you need to figure out the science of astrology. You need to figure out the science of earth magic, tree magic, earth magic, elemental spirit magic, like fairies and gnomes and shit. You need to figure out the true cosmology, which I've already just told you most of it, but you could reject it if you haven't come as far as that. So the innovators are going to be bringing in old stuff, but it's all going to come from earthy stuff. Why? Because the Antichrist that has been talked about, the return of the Antichrist coming, is modern technology, is AI, is all of the bullshit, because all of that is a fake replica of nature's true technology. Okay? So if you innovate in all that shit, if you innovate in online this and tech that and internet this and whatever, blah 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 blah, the destroyers are just going to destroy that too, the other group, because because they're on a mission to only bring in the true stuff, because they innovated the true stuff in the past, right? The innovators are like a more squeamish and less educated version, but still pure and like a little younger of a soul than the destroyers. The destroyers understand the need for chaos because, like I said, they were thwarted continually. They were murdered, beheaded, drowned, put to the stake, crucified, fucked over, lied to, and they didn't. It's not anybody's fault. They didn't have the gumption to carry through. So in those past lives, they were learning, okay, I need to have the gumption to carry through if I really want to save the world. Because they had the emphasis to save the world, but they weren't able to accept darkness as a means to saving the world. They were afraid to destroy their enemies, literally, right? That's the difference between a Genghis Khan or a Alexander the Great and a Nikola Tesla, is that Genghis Khan and Alexander knew that they could revolutionize the world to varying degrees. Let's use Genghis Khan because it's better. Alexander's empire only lasted about 12 years after he died and continually shrunk, and the Macedonians didn't stay in control of the Greeks afterwards. But he had very revolutionary ways of accepting the other cultures that he went to, taking them on in his rituals. It was a different time period. Khan let every nation that he take over keep their religious system, their rituals, and all that shit. But he instated natural law, which were like 3 or 4 different laws. And the Khans actually had the Tartarian Empire, which stretched across the entire world. So Genghis Khan is like Cyrus the Great from the biblical story, right? He conquered people to set them free because their rulers were shitty, right? So it sounds crazy, but you guys have to get it through your head here in 2020. Some people, and then Nikola Tesla, for example, let his laboratory be burned down. He let Thomas Edison steal his ideas and run his ideas through the mud. He could have gone and killed Edison or poisoned him or used black magic to kill Thomas Edison. But he chose not to because he thought that he had to do things the good way. And because part of his soul wanted to be a martyr. Okay? That's something you need to know. When these stars die, they like martyrdom to some degree. Even if they don't consciously like it, that's what their soul's doing in this realm. He's a martyr. Because now we have to wait 100 fucking years to get Tesla technology here. If he had murdered Thomas Edison and made sure to thrust his ideas into the public, like, okay, I need to take a month off of being at the lab, and I need to go to other world leaders since America's denying me. But basically what happens is you need to be okay. So I just gave you the full layout of why there's destructors. The innovators need to use earth magic, right? Now, the phone's about to die, so I need to go to Aphrodite. Aphrodite came in and said, keep your nobility and your pureness of spirit in these times of chaos. Okay? Fuck, I don't want this phone to die. Okay, keep your purity, keep your nobility in the times of chaos. Put your feet in the stream, put your feet in the ocean, hug a tree, put flowers in your hair, smell the roses, cook good foods, keep stable and fort. Oh yeah, Alaris also said fuck, now I said his name. Fucking shit, man. Whatever, you guys can know his name. Okay. It's fine. Okay. That threw me off. Not supposed to say his name. Okay. What are we going to do? Snip that part out. Okay. So we're going to snip that out. Fuck that. So Aphrodite said to do all those natural things. And to keep divine love as you move forward. Then we went to Lord Ganesh. Lord Ganesha talked about, so he's basically a Mercury spirit. Aphrodite's basically a Venusian spirit. They're just different emanations. It's like calling me Ranulf or calling me Ben or calling me whatever else you want to call me. Same deity, same thing. Aphrodite also said, gods are immortal men, men are mortal gods. Goddesses are immortal women, women are mortal goddesses. Okay? And to keep your nobility and your pureness of spirit, your lightness of heart, and your love through these times of chaos. And by their fruits you shall know them. This is speaking of yourself. You should take care of yourself in all things. And she said that when you love yourself truly, you will know how to devote. She's the goddess of devotion. Once you devote yourself, to your own well-being, to your own good, to your own positive emotions, then you'll know how to devote yourself to another. First, you must devote yourself to yourself. Then Lord Ganesha jumps in. Phone's almost dying here. Lord Ganesha jumps in. Ganesh sums everything up. He says, okay, Selene told you that there's going to be waves in this manifestation, to be the fluid of your family and to keep things in check when you can, mediate when you can, but keep your emotions strong above all else. The cat, the feline royal ancestor, said to, he bifurcated the destroyers and the innovators and told you how to find each, why everybody's here, of the people who are going to save the world. Then Aphrodite told you guys how to love yourselves and how to stay in a state of ease and in a state of flow. She also recommended everybody dance. Dance to your music once a day. Some kind of favorite music. Go with the flow. Because you need to get into a flow state to love yourself. Because, yeah, and then he came in and he said that he's a mercurial spirit and he's going to teach you how to be light on your feet. So all those other facets, we're going to add another facet of Ganesh. And his is the mercurial trickster and the nimble-footed one and the one who has many irons in the fire, many projects running at once. And he told you guys that, told us that we need to differentiate between assets and liabilities. Some people some people around you, some of the people in your environment are assets, and this is a military term, or are liabilities. That means they can help you in times of great chaos, or they're going to flounder and pull you down while you try to save them. That's a liability. An asset is someone who has things to offer and has a right mindset. He says you have to leave the liabilities behind, and you're actually doing them a service if you want to get queasy about it, because you're one of the only people that's showing them that they're a liability in real life, where other people pretend that they're not a liability or don't even recognize that they're a liability, so that never gives them the chance to grow. Okay, so you have to be willing to assert yourself in this time period. Okay, then he also said that investments should be in solid things, and first in yourself, then in your tribe or family. This could be soul family. This doesn't have to be in your physical family. The people that you actually care about and who are actually in line with your mission. Okay? And then after that, maybe in community. But first, you need to get those branches: yourself, loved ones, community. Right? And you need to, like we talked about from the feline ancestor, he said the Internet of Things and all this currency is subject to change and is subject to be destroyed. So what needs to happen is you have to invest in real things like long-term food, planting a garden, water that you have just in case, ways to create power that are not electrical, wood if you live in the north so that you can continue to create fires, silver, gold, precious metals and gems, real tangible objects that you can trade with, okay? Then, and they'll always keep their value. Even if there's a currency, even if the destruction doesn't happen for years, it's still going to be great to do everything that he just said. So I'm not giving you propaganda or fear. Then Lord Ganesha said that once you get your castle fortified, yourself, your loved ones, your community, you can act swiftly in the world like a mercurial spirit. So he said to add on to the love that you're giving yourself from Aphrodite, to the knowledge you gained from the feline god, and from the emotional control and future projections that you got from Selene, add on to that swiftness and trickery, that you need to accept your tricking and scheming nature in order to get by the enemies in these trying times, okay? And people around you that are close to you that you think are loved ones can turn into enemies. That's why you need to assess them to figure out, make a list who's an asset and a liability. Fold it up, keep it somewhere where nobody's going to find it, right? That's something Mercury would do. It's tricky. Okay, and with that, I love you guys all. I don't want this video to end here, so I'm going to end this now. I love you guys. Hope this channeled messages, redux or whatever you want to call it, revisited, goes great. And happy blue moon coming. This is a great time to be alive. Love you all. Ranulf checking out.